Hey y'all, it's Charles. Welcome back. In this video, we're finally going to dive into Salesforce's Trailhead and learn the basics of how to be a Salesforce administrator. Let's get started. So hopefully in the last video, you signed up for Trailhead. I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And there we go. Okay. So trailhead.salesforce.com. Hopefully you created your account and logged in. So this is a brand new account I just created for this channel. And you just want to click on Trails up here at the top. And remember, we want to find this admin beginner trail that looks like this. So this is the one we're going to start with. Go ahead and click that. And we're just going to go ahead and start from the top, the Salesforce Platform Basics. Now, before we start, I just want to quickly address the fact that Salesforce has two versions that are basically the same thing. And I don't want anybody to get confused if they're learning the right thing. So what I mean by that, we're just going to start with this first, Get Started with Salesforce Platform little course. So go ahead and click that. And this is how it's going to work. We're going to have a little bit of reading to do. They've got a video in here. There's the video. And then at the bottom, this is how pretty much all the classes are set up. There's a little bit of reading, and then at the bottom there's either multiple choice questions or a challenge, a hands-on challenge where you actually go into Salesforce and you have to build something. So in this one, it's going to have us create a field. So what you're going to do is you're going to launch this playground, Trailhead Playground, which is just what Salesforce is actually going to look like to your end users. So you go ahead and launch that, and this is what the Salesforce program actually looks like. So this is welcome to Trailhead Playground, blah, 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 blah. All right, so this is what's called the Lightning version, Salesforce Lightning. There's Salesforce Lightning and there's Salesforce Classic. They pretty much do the same thing. Salesforce Lightning has a couple more advanced features, and the user interface the screen looks a little bit better and more modern. So here, I'm in Salesforce Lightning, and if you click this little icon, you see the option to switch to Salesforce Classic. So because they do the same thing, you can switch seamlessly between them. So you see this one has a little bit of an older user interface look. And you can see this in setup especially. This is where we're going to work most of the time, is the setup. So this is what the Salesforce Classic setup looks like. And it looks a little busy and overwhelming. And if you go, you can switch back to Lightning Experience, and this little gear icon is how you get to set up in Lightning Experience. Just click that. This is, I don't know what this is. Sure. This is what setup looks like in Lightning version. It looks a little bit more friendly, a little bit less going on. So what is all this? Let's get started with the actual trail. The way I like to set up my workspace, I guess, when I'm about to start learning, is you have this part of Trailhead, which is the little coursework part with the reading and the challenge, but it's really annoying to switch between windows like this. It's really nice to be able to switch really fast, or even have multiple screens with this pulled up on one of them, so you can have the reading open up on one screen or on one window, and then switch back the trail to the actual Salesforce. As you're building things, this will make more sense. You'll have to reference these instructions a lot. So what I mean by that is I like to take this and make it into a new window. So I usually use Safari, so I'm not really sure how to do this. Let's see. There you go. Alright, so I like to drag mine over into a new window. So I have this open, and then I'll open up my actual Salesforce like this. So that way I can switch really quick back and forth like this to reference the instructions. So let's go back to the top. That's just a little bit of the layout of these trails. Things will go much quicker in later videos. We won't have to go over this every time, but this is just the basics. So you can see here at the very top, it says Salesforce has two different versions, Classic and Lightning Experience. So like I said, Salesforce Classic looks a little older and doesn't have as many features as Lightning, but they're pretty much the same thing. The features that Lightning has are a little bit more advanced you can see right away it's more sleek, more user-friendly. Let's see. And we'll cover all those features in later videos too, but just remember for now you can switch between them easily, and they do basically the same thing. If you learn Lightning, it's really easy to learn Classic and vice versa. But because the exam is going to be on Lightning, we're going to learn Lightning. It's important to know that you can switch between them though, because a lot of companies still have the Classic older version. So back to the trail. Now the way these are set up, the reading and the questions at the bottom. Now, this first lesson gets started with the Salesforce platform. At the very bottom, this challenge is going to have us create what's called a field. So it says create a field on the contact object. So you might be saying, what's a field and what's an object? Let me just go ahead and explain this real quick if you don't already know. If you already know, you can go ahead and skip ahead. So Salesforce is what's called a CRM, a customer relationship management tool. It also sometimes is referred to as a type of relational database. So this may sound like a bunch of jargon, but you'll hear it again and again. So let me give a few examples that everyone can relate to. So the first three important things you need to know is what are objects, records, and fields. If you don't know what these are, you can start thinking about use cases for objects, records, and fields throughout your day. So first of all, you can think about an object as a folder. And in this case, it's going to be a digital folder because we're on the computer. But if you want to get physical, the object you can think of as a folder. So one of the standard objects in Salesforce is called accounts. So that would be the account object. And you can think of this as like a folder labeled accounts. And then each piece of paper that you put inside the folder will be what's called a record, or each one would represent a different account. And then on the piece of paper, you've got little bits of information you want to know about the account, like how much money they make every year, what the name of it is, how long you've had that account, and lots of other things, but those are called fields. All those little bits of information are going to be called fields. So objects are like the folder, records are like each unique piece of paper you put inside, and fields are the little bits of information or data that you put on the piece of paper that you want to know. So another explanation of this that everybody can relate to is you've probably been to the doctor before. Now when you go to the doctor, they might say, if you've been there before, they might say like, let me pull up your file or fill out this paperwork. The paperwork you fill out is a record. It's your record. So they would put your paperwork in a file for you, which is probably labeled accounts or patients. So they would have the patients folder, and then they'd have everybody's paperwork in that folder, and everybody's set of paperwork would be a record. And then all the bits of information you enter on the paperwork that you fill out, like your insurance numbers, your name, your height, your weight, your social security number, all that stuff are they're fields. They're little bits of information that they want to know about you. So one more explanation of this real quick. If you still don't get it, go ahead and comment and I'll make another video explaining a couple more different ways. But so one last explanation is driver's licenses. So pretty much everybody has a driver's license, I hope so. And on your driver's license, let's see, where's mine? All right, I didn't bring mine inside. But on your driver's license, there's bits of information that you need to know, or that's on there, like your eye color, your height, your name, where you're from, the state that the driver's license was issued in, your driver's license number, and all these things that are on there. So those are fields, little bits of information about you. And your driver's license, you, is like your record of you. And then the government, I guess, has, or the Department of Transportation or whatever, has a record of all these driver's licenses. Or a file or a database of all these driver's licenses. So when you get pulled over or something, they can look you up by your driver's license number. So the bits of information on your driver's license are fields. Your driver's license is like your record. There's unique records, and then they might have a database or an object called driver's licenses. and then all of the driver's licenses go in that folder. All right, so let's move on, go ahead and actually get started with this lesson. So hopefully we won't have to go over any of this stuff again in any later videos. I won't unless anybody asks me to make a separate video in the comments, and I'll go ahead and make one. So here we go. What are the objectives for this course? After completing this unit, you'll be able to define the Salesforce platform, go along with this little scenario that they made, create a Trailhead playground, explain the difference between declarative and programmatic development. So the Salesforce platform is just Salesforce. You have the ability to make things. Go ahead and do the reading. I'm not going to go through everything specifically. That's up to you to go ahead and read through. It's important to read through because there's going to be questions on the exam that are in the reading. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to kind of do the quick version. So Salesforce platform, Salesforce allows you to build things with clicking and dragging and making new folders and stuff like that, and fields. Create a Trailhead playground. We already did that. I just clicked like one button and it made it. Describe the dream house scenario. That's going to be in the reading. Explain the difference between declarative and programmatic development. So declarative programming is what you're going to be doing for the most part as an administrator. And that's just saying like building things by clicking and dragging with your mouse in the user interface. Programmatic is like coding. So on the back end, if you are a developer, that would be programmatic developing because you'd be typing in stuff and coding. But most administrators are just going to do declarative development. And we might get into some programmatic in later videos, not in this administrator course, but when I do a developer course, we'll do that. Okay, so read through all this stuff, go along with the scenario, and on to the challenge. Add a custom field to the contact object. So remember, a field is just one of those bits of information we want to know. So they want us to call it, or they want us to put the field on the contact object, and the data type needs to be currency, and the name of the field is going to be loan amount.